Hey guys, you're welcome back to our channel. My name is Franklin from Couples Talk. One of the challenges that many marriages go through today is financial difficulties. This is something that it happens a lot of times, and to be very honest, it's one thing that couples must face. It's not something that can be avoided, because at one point or the other there will always be financial constraint, and the wisdom to deal with it is what determines if you guys are going to come out from it quickly or not. So I just want to quickly share how to manage financial difficulties as a couple, because it will come. We cannot say it's not going to come. It will definitely come. But the thing is, when it comes, what should you do? Now, this is very, very important. When it comes, what should you do? Over the years, I've come across couples who faced financial difficulties, and even as a couple as well, in our early years of marriage, down to several other times in our marriage, there was financial constraint here and there. It's a normal thing, but how do you manage it? The first thing that I realized, if you guys are going to manage financial difficulties properly, is that both parties should be aware of the real financial situation. A lot of times, something I discovered is that when there is a financial crisis, most times the husband may not want to let the wife know about it. A lot of times, one party, will try to hide the situation from the other party, which shouldn't be that way. If you guys are going to come out of any financial difficulty, you and your spouse must be aware. The both of you must be aware of the real financial situation. The man of the house should table the matter before the wife and say, this is the financial situation in the house. Transparency must be established at this point. Now, why am I stressing on this? Over the years, I've seen situations. For example, I know of a particular couple who had financial issues, but you see, the guy never told the lady of the financial situation. You get the point now? And he was just trying to mask it up, thinking that all is going to be well. But at the end of the day, guess what? That particular thing got out of hand. You get the point now? Why? Because the young man refused to tell the young lady, of the real situation on ground, which shouldn't be. When there is a financial situation, the man and the woman should sit down and handle the matter together. The both parties should be aware. They should know that this is the real financial situation on ground. Now, why is this important? When the both parties are abreast of the situation on ground, it becomes easy to tackle. The lady is not going to be expecting so much from the guy or so much from the marriage, and it becomes easy for the both of them to put heads together and say, okay, let's do this. Let's get this thing sorted out. Get a point now. So this is something that is very, very important. The next thing that should be done in order to handle or manage financial difficulties as a couple is that the couple should sit down to analyze the expenses on ground. Now that they know that there's a financial situation on ground, because at this point now you need to go into financial management. At every point when there is a financial crisis, the moment you recognize that this is what is going on, the next thing you need to look into is your expenses. Look into your expenses, and this is something that the both couple need to do. Sit down and analyze the expenses. Analyze the inflow and the outflow. What is the total income of the house? This is something that must be established. What is the total income of the house? As a man, you've got to understand this. You must let your spouse know what is coming in at every point. If the woman is also engaged in any kind of business or she's working, the both parties should at every point put all their earnings on the table and say, this is our income, this is how much that is coming in, and this is how much we are spending. A lot of times when couples fail to analyze this, they will never realize that their expenses are way more than their income. This is why this is very, very important as a couple. Analyze the income, how much is coming in on a monthly basis, and then analyze your expense. Of course, if you are in debt, just go ahead and write it down. Get a note. It's a serious business, and then you begin to write down all the the necessary things, get to find out what are you guys spending money on. Because see, when you are able to find out, then it becomes easy for you to now start addressing. Now, this is very important, because when you begin to do this, that is when the both of you, you are now able to know the area that is taking a lot of money from you guys. So when you guys have established that area that is taking a lot of money from you guys, you go to the next one now, which is to eliminate the liability. Trust me, a lot of times we get involved in several expenses that are not necessary. It's the truth. We get involved in some of these expenses. It could be the house rent, it could be the phone bills, whatever it may be. It could be the children's school fees, whatever it may be. After you have analyzed your income and your expenses, and then you are able to know the area where you are spending a lot of money, then the next thing, identify the liability so you can eliminate it. If it is the rent, then there should be a plan to move to somewhere cheaper so that what you are earning will be enough. A lot of times when it comes to this, most couples, they begin to chase more money. They say, I think what we need now is more money. And then you see the man trying to get another job, and then you see the woman trying to add a business or trying to get a job just to be able to meet up, which is not a bad idea at all, but it is a wrong approach. Yes, you heard me right. It is a wrong approach. The reason it's a wrong approach is because if the expenses are not identified, if the liabilities are not identified, hear me very clearly, even if you start earning bigger, hear me, you will end up wasting that money as well, because you have not tackled the real problem. The real problem here is not the income. The real problem is the management of the income. This is so important. I want you to understand this. See, I am not against, couples trying to earn more money. But the truth of the matter is that until and unless that money is managed well, it will still be the same thing. So you and your spouse, you need to sit down, identify your liability. What are you spending money on? What are those things like taking so much money from you? Could it be the children's school fees? If it gets to that point, maybe you guys may have to look for other better options that will be affordable. So that's something that needs to be done. Hear me, I need you to understand this. Liability is a major issue that many people, they just toss it aside and feel that, it doesn't count. But trust me, I can tell you this, liability is one of the major reasons why couples go through financial challenges. Apart from, the income issue, the income is also there. But when it comes to, the ability, it's always high. You find that couples today, they are living above their means. And as long as you are living above your means, forget it. These things are very, very simple. They are logical. As long as you are living above your means, your expenses are way more than your income, you will go through financial difficulties. That's a constant. You see couples who are always eating out. They don't cook in the house. They're always eating out. And yet they want to have, a financial free life. It's not possible. As long as you're always eating out, you are not planning, you are wasting your money on eating out, it's always going to be a problem at the end of the day. So this is something that you really, really need to look into. Now, the next thing, after you have identified liability, maybe you identified it, you've discovered all the several areas, you and your spouse should draw up a budget. Draw up a budget. What is a budget? A budget is a list of things, that needs to be done with specific amounts of money. Now, this particular thing will help you and your spouse to be able to allocate your earnings properly, because a lot of times the challenge is that when couples earn money, they don't plan. The money just goes into anything that is of importance as at that moment. If, for example, maybe there was a need to buy some clothes and, they just go for it. There was a need to buy some furniture in the house or some electronics, they just go for it without having to plan for it. It shouldn't be that way. Whatever it is that you guys are supposed to do as a couple, it ought to be planned. If you want to buy a television set, then you should plan for it, save towards it. You want to go for vacation, don't just do it at once. Plan for it, save for it. Now, all these things are going to happen through budgeting. You get the point now? I'm going to do another video on how a couple are expected to do their budget. But for now, draw a plan, draw a budget. What are the most important things that you guys need to do? And then you draw it out, you write it down, you write it down, you write it down. Then you will now begin to allocate funds. You can say, okay, 10% will go for this, another 10% go for this, 20% go for this, like that. When you do that, now your finances is organized. Whatever you are spending on, it's going to be according to the budget that has been drawn. That's why this is very, very important. You get the point now. Now, the next thing that needs to be done once you have drawn your budgeting plan, you can now begin to talk about increasing your income. This is where increasing your income comes in. Remember, I told you that there's nothing wrong with you going for, increased income, but that is if you have already mapped out, okay? I've already mapped out the management plan. So at this point now, you guys have to plan for extra income. If the woman was not working, then a business should be set up for the woman. And a lot of time people say, come on, business, how is that going to happen when there is no money? Hear me, there are a lot of side gigs that ladies can do today, and they don't even have to leave their house. For example, e-commerce is one business that any lady can do. Most of these platforms, Amazon and the rest of them, they are all looking for people who will come and sell something on their platform. All you need to do is do your market research, get to know the goods that you are interested in, that you feel people will be interested in, goods that will appeal to people. It could be goods for mothers, it could be products for nursing mothers, or for expecting mothers, or for children. Whatever the case may be, go for those products. Invest little money into those products. Place it on any of these platforms, or possibly have your own platform. It could be on Instagram or Facebook or even your website, and begin to sell on those platforms. I'm telling you, when you do that, it will go a very, very long way to help. And then for the man, you can also go for side gigs as well. You just need to think in that direction, because a lot of time what happens is that, most guys, just because they are working in one place, they don't think about adding to that particular income. It shouldn't be that way. Because when we talk about adding another income, some people, what they think is, okay, maybe I should get a job with a higher pay. That in itself is a good plan, but guess what? What about maintaining your job, then adding, looking for something else that you can add to that particular thing, and you'll be earning here and earning there. It may not be as easy as I'm speaking about it now, but if your mind is there, you plan in that direction, you will definitely achieve it, after a while. Remember, determination matters in this particular thing. So this is something that you need to really, really look into. It will go a very long way to help. And finally, the couple should be aware of how much is spent when the income comes. This also is very, very important. After you've done all these things, you should now begin to look at the expenses and the income again. If after you have completed all the management plans, the budgeting, identifying the liabilities, if after you've done all this and then the new month comes and you guys are still, facing difficulties, then you should repeat this process again. Go back to the expenses, go back to the liability, and see what more needs to be done. And then more effort needs to be put in the area of earning more money as well. So there will be a balance. You get the point now? Now, this is something that it's a continuous plan. It could go on for 3 months, 4 months, 6 months, and like that. Before you know what is happening, you guys will begin to bring a balance to your finances. So that'll be all for this video. I believe that you've gotten value from this video. Give it a thumbs up. Let me know what you think. Let me know the area that resonated with you. Drop me a comment. I would love to hear from you. And then don't forget, my book is still out there, Marriage Made Easy. It will go a very long way to help you. It's a short read, it's a devotional, something that you look into every day, and it will help your mind. It will help your thought process. It will help you relate better with your spouse. All right, don't forget to share with your friends and families. And if you haven't subscribed to this channel, kindly do so. Click on the notification bell so that the next time we post a new video, you will be the first to receive that video. All right, I'll see you guys in the next one. God bless you.